Guidance counselors, and I'd like to introduce our speaker tonight is Mr. Bobby Holcomb. He's the Director of Financial Aid at Union, USC Union, and he knows his stuff backwards and forwards. So he'll take you through it every step, and he'll be able to answer any question you probably have. Did everybody get a handout before we start? Everybody good? Okay. All right, I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Bobby.
Thank you. Can you all hear me without me holding this microphone? I'll talk real loud. If for some reason my voice were to fade, just let me know and I'll be glad to pick it up. Okay. If you all were at the September Scholarship Workshop, some of this information is going to look familiar. Some of it is, but very few is. So the only thing that really starts looking familiar is this cantaloupe piece of paper that talks about never paying for any financial aid services. So I just want to reiterate that. Please do not pay for any financial aid services. Tonight we'll be talking about the FAFSA, and I will go into detail with the FAFSA. The FAFSA is an acronym. It stands for Free Application for Federal Student Aid. So free is the first word in there. Now don't put this too far away because there's something brand new on the back that we'll be talking about when we're finished talking about the FAFSA. But for right now, we're just going to look at this old-fashioned cut and paste, because literally that is what I did. I cut, I pasted, I made copies because that was the only way I could get everything in here that you all needed. So look at it as we go through it. I encourage you to have a pen or pencil, take notes, jot your questions down. If you do have questions, please ask them. If you have questions that are personal in nature, I'll be here after the program, so I'll be glad to talk to you so you don't have to share your business with everyone. But if it's a general question, please ask it, because I think it's more than helpful with the audience. The first thing I'd like you to look at, and put a check mark by it or asterisk or whatever you'd like to, is this website, www.fafsa.ed.gov. This is the website you always want to log on to. And what's going to happen is you're going to come home from work and you're going to prepare dinner, clean up the dishes, clean up the kitchen, sweep the kitchen, feed the dog, take the trash out. You're already tired. You're going to take a 15-minute break, and then you're going to get your tax information and sit down at the computer, and you're going to type in www.fasfa.com, C-O-M. And when you do, this will appear. And you're going to enter all your information. And when you get ready to submit it, it's going to charge you $80. It's a scam. It's a legitimate scam. Someone has bought the domain to www.fasfa.com. They cannot get your information. It is totally secure. But what they do, they transfer it to fasfa.ed.gov. That's the most expensive postage stamp that you'll ever pay. So please make sure you use the correct website. Now, I know a lot of people's not here because football got rearranged, and cheerleaders and band and 7th grade, 8th grade, all this stuff. But what a lot of people don't know is, whether that was going on or not, this cafeteria still will not be full, because there's so many people out there that think, I make too much money to apply for the FAFSA. Well, folks, that's not true. Regardless of what you make, how high or how low, everyone will qualify for something. And on the right-hand side, this is the type of financial aid you'll qualify for, plus at the space down here, write in, if you've got a pen or pencil, WINS, W-I-N-S, okay? That's a new program, brand new program. Now, when you complete the FAFSA and it's submitted, the things that you'll be applying for is the Pell Grant, which is based upon income, Lottery Tuition Assistance, which is for 2-year schools in South Carolina. You'll be considered for direct subsidized and unsub loans. You'll be considered for the Parent Plus loan, the Supplemental Educational Opportunity Grant. You have to be Pell eligible to get the FSEOG. The State Need-Based Grant, which is for public schools in South Carolina. The South Carolina Tuition Grant, which is for private schools in South Carolina. federal work study, and then wins. Now, every school in the United States requires the FAFSA. So it doesn't matter if you're applying to a 2-year school, 4-year school, truck driving school, cosmetology school, in-state, out-of-state, doesn't matter. Every school requires the FAFSA. From this funding, the only funding that restricts you to in-state would be the lottery, would be WINS, would be the state need-based grant, and state tuition grant. Everything else you can take to any school, anywhere in the United States. So that's why every school uses the FAFSA form. So without any further ado, we're going to get started, and I'm going to walk you through the FAFSA, showing you how to fill it out, what to do, but most importantly, what not to do. Because there's some things that if you do it, it will reject the FAFSA and slow the process down. So when you go to www.fafsa.ed.gov, this will appear. Go to the left-hand side of the screen where it says Start Here and click. Now the FAFSA process is a little slow at times and the wheel will turn, so just be patient. You're going to click I am the student. Now parents, you may be doing this for your son or daughter, but I just find it easier if you go ahead and enter as the student. So that's what we're going to do this evening, is enter I am the student. Now, before you can go any further, the senior must have a FSA username and password. Parent has to have one too, but we'll talk about the parents in a little bit. But the senior, or each college student, if you have more than one, must create this. And all you do is click here, create, and then you just start filling out this information. You assign your own information, so it can be fairly easy to remember. Make it easy to remember. Make everything simple. What you want to do after you've created your username and password, write it down. You also have to furnish an email address and a cell number, a mobile number. Furnish one that you're not going to be changing. So if you don't have an email, go ahead and create one, a Gmail account. But have one that you will not be changing, because it's very important. After you start this process, before you finish, it's going to send you a code to your cell and to your email. And that's going to help solidify the information you put in. Now, we can't do this evening. I've created a bogus one so we can actually go through the FAFSA. But this is the first step. And remember, a couple of things. Parents, you're creating it on behalf of the student. I encourage the student to be here with you, or some students even create it, okay? But make sure you put the student information in. If you put a wrong social security number in, this whole process is incorrect. And when it's finally processed and the college financial aid office realizes it, you've got to do everything all over again. So make sure the social security number is correct. You don't transpose a digit. But more importantly, make sure the name matches. Whatever is on the social security card, that's what you enter. I've been doing this for over 30 years. And this year I've had 2 students, and I don't know why. They put a different name in, and it doesn't register with the Social Security Administration. And I talked to one parent, and let's say the student's name, they were both female, let's say the student's name was Sharon, and they call her Snooky. Everybody calls her Snooky. She put Snooky in there. Well, it didn't work. And I said, you've got to go back and change it and put the name that's on the Social Security card. And the father argued with me, but we call her Snooky. I don't care what you call her. That's not on the Social Security card. And if you want financial aid, you got to put what's on the Social Security card. So make sure you do that correctly, please. Now, we're going to go back. As I said, I've created a bogus FSA username and password on behalf of a student so we can get in this evening. The first few pages are going to be information that's just flowing over from where you created your username and password. Now, this is just a disclaimer or warning letting you know you're going into the U.S. Department of Education's website. So just click accept. Now, you're at the point where you're having to choose, oh goodness, what am I doing? Am I starting a FAFSA for 2019, 2020, or 2020, 2021? Well, you're a senior right now, so you don't need financial aid. We're applying for the fall of the year 2020, 2019. So click that. The save key. Again, make all this simple so you can remember it. The save 2020, 2021. It's the school year you're applying for financial aid for. Okay? And I think I have it on here. You could just do a big circle if you need to. But just make sure you're applying for next year's financial aid. Now, one thing I didn't say, I stressed Social Security, name, all this. Another thing I need to stress, when you create your username and password, write it down exactly the way you created it. Uppercase, lowercase, special character, number. Write it down, take a picture of it with your phone, let your parents take a picture of it with their phone, put it in with your taxes, put it in with a family Bible, put it in the lockbox. If you cannot remember your password and your username, you cannot get back into FAFSA. It is very secured, so if you have to call the Department of Education, they're only going to talk with the owner, which starting out is the student. The save key is not nearly as complicated. You can change that every time you get in. I encourage you to put your zip code because it is so much easier because you know your zip code, or I hope you do. And again, you can change this every time you get in. So you're clicking next, and the first page, skip, where it's got all the introductory, and I've got that on my notes here. Don't click on each of these because you'll never get through the FAFSA. It's a real simple process. Now this page takes you to the bogus information I created, and it's all flowed over from where you created your information. The only thing that's not there would be a middle initial. So put your middle initial in and click next. You'll be clicking next a lot. Now, your email address. This is flowed over from where you created your information. Your telephone number, you can put a number there. You don't have to. You can put your sale, land, or nothing. I'm putting nothing. Then your address is flowed over from where you've created your information. Now, this is a very teachable moment. There's several teachable moments with the FAFSA. As I said, every school in the United States requires a FAFSA. It doesn't matter where you're going. The state of Nevada has a 5-year residency. There could be some other states with a 5-year residency. South Carolina only has a 1-year residency. So as long as you've been a resident of South Carolina for 1 year, you're going to click yes, and then citizenship. This is a biggie. You can only receive federal and state financial aid if you are a U.S. citizen or U.S. natural citizen or eligible non-citizen. So if you're in one of those first two categories, you're eligible for financial aid. So we're just going to go ahead and click citizen. Next. Then it's asking about the high school completion status. Our goal is to have a diploma. And that's what we're assuming. So go ahead and click high school diploma. Now this is important. If you look at the screen, you'll see a lot of different type degrees, certificates, diplomas. If you put second bachelor's, if you put teaching credential, if you put college, graduate, professional, or other undecided, you will not be eligible for any free money. So don't make that mistake. It doesn't matter if you're going to Spartanburg Community College or if you wind up at Winthrop. You may be considering 2-year and 4-year. You will not harm yourself if everybody puts first bachelor's. So that's what I encourage you to do. Then it automatically tells you that you do not have your first bachelor's. And then it's asking your grade level in college. A lot of your students are taking dual enrolled work. as well as AP work, and that's great. However, they're still a high school senior. They've not yet got their diploma, so technically they've not attended college. They're doing dual work, not all college work, even though they're getting college credit. So they're going to click never attended college first year.